Good morning, welcome back to my channel. Today is a fateful day. It's the 23rd of February 2022, the beginning of the Madrid Art Fair Week, or the ARCO Art Fair Week, however you call it. Basically from Wednesday to Sunday. During the 5 days, 6 art fairs will take place in Madrid at the same time. It's a super exciting moment to visit the city. In case if you are not around, I'm going to cover the event and show you every single piece of art I'm going to see there. And today I'm going to ARCO. Unlike the previous 3 years I've been covering this event, this year I want to make something different. I would like to make a series of interviews to the art professionals, like the gallerists, professional artists, and art critics, curators. There in this event, I'm going to ask them to give us, our young artists in this community, some advice on how to survive and strive in the post-pandemic art world. I'm sure this video will interest you. Make sure you watch until the end. Let's go. I'm late. I'm on my way to IFEMA, and I forgot to mention that in case if you're thinking about visiting ARCO, you will need 2 things. The first thing is a FFP2 mask that is different from a normal surgical mask, and you will need a digital COVID certificate. More information later on, I will find out. Cool.
I'm Carlos Aires.
You're the artist responsible for those works.
I think so.
Right now, this ARCO, the booth, the gallery is only representing your works.
Yes, I mean, until Thursday, that half of the booth will be, I will share it with another artist from Italy. It's called Antonio Consentino. And then we will be a tete-a-tete. This is a piece I have done. I wanted to do a piece related with the fair, with this event, this type of events where art is sold. And here the piece is called Fair, Fear People. I play with the double meaning of fair. I cut out those banknotes using 1,500 euros change in currency of the 30 richest countries in the world right now. All is done with the golden pins, like taxidermia, you know, like this, when you collect butterflies, you know, this idea of men thinking that they can control nature. Right now I am 47 years old, and I think that from the 20-something I was doing the fair. I have to say that this year at the fair I find it super high quality. I studied in the south of Spain, and I remember that coming to the fair to see these major works. And for a while these major works, suddenly they were not at the fair in the last, I would say, 10 years. And suddenly this year edition, again, I see like these very important major works. And you know, it's not only about the commercial side of the fair. The market suddenly is not so important, and the quality of the work suddenly they rise again.
One last advice to artists who wish to become you.
I would not like to become me. You know, that is what I can tell you. You know, do whatever and become anything else but me. It's not easy to explain, but I think that each person should go in their own way, you know, and there is always a way to go.
Hi, my name is Laura Science, and the gallery's Proxico Gallery. We're based in New York. The gallery specializes in Latin American art, especially women. And we're very happy to be in ARCO this year. It's the second time we've been here. We brought 2 women artists from Mexico, one a photographer and the other one a painter. Here is Fabiola Minkeli. She does this work in the dark room where she uses different lights to find a way of, in the geometry, to kind of construct these beautiful pieces, which is very difficult to do in the dark room, especially with color. I mean, yeah, it's a beautiful work that she did especially for this show. And then we have Lucia Vidales, painter, and she's also Mexican in her early 30s. A lot of what she's interested in is Mesoamerican mythology, where there's this woman deity that kind of fell apart. And you could see in her work that there's some feet and some hands, and they kind of like melt. So they become almost from abstract, you kind of see body parts or people kind of coming out, which is fantastic. We've done some fairs in the United States, and we wanted to open up the public of the collectors for our artists, and we thought ARCO would be a wonderful place to have the more European group of collectors and curators. And this has been the second year, so the first time around we did well, and you know, we thought, why not?
Do you have any recommendations for, let's say, a young artist who are graduating from MFA art school when they're approaching a gallery, like your gallery?
Yes.
What is the best way to approach?
Well, I think the way young artists should kind of move around is try to invite curators to their studio, maybe do a group show with friends, try to get the work to be seen out there. You know, you do have to go through that process before kind of approaching a gallery. I feel sometimes like entering with a curator is even better. I mean, you could always ask a gallerist to have a studio visit, but definitely look at the gallery if it has anything in relationship with your work of art. I have artists that send them information and they're not even Latin American, so I know they didn't open the page to look at the history of the gallery. So I feel that that's important. You really have to take your time and know to whom you're presenting the work and how you're going to do it.
So my name is Benjamin, and I represent the Galleria Foco that is set up in Lisbon since 4 years. It's a new project, a young project. We already did a lot of things since 4 years, and today I present for the first time in ARCO Madrid the booth with Pauline Guerrier. Pauline Guerrier, she's a French artist too, as me, but she's living in Portugal now, in Lisbon. I convinced her to move there, to this beautiful city. And we're happy to present a solo show, a solo booth of her that she did exclusively for the fair. All of the artworks that we see in the booth, they were made for this project. It's called Through the Eyes of My Ancestors. So she comes from a family of artists. The grandfather, the grandfather, the grandmother, the father, they are all artists. And they gave a lot of things to Pauline, who has an education. And she transmitted that with, first things, the drawings on the booth, where she drew instinctive drawings, thinking about transmission, what the family gave it to her. And it's defined by symbol, by hands, by the eyes that transmit like the view, the sight, the touch, and colors, shape and colors. This is the esquisse of the work because the principal work has the tapestry. There is 10 of them. They appear like a tarot card game. Each card has its own symbolic. And every day we're going to change the setup of the card. There will be a new lecture of the tapestry every day. She made them with wool and cotton on linen. This is something like Pauline like a lot. She works with a lot of artisanal. We call her artist-artisan. She works with ceramic, with glass. And every time she travels a lot to make residency abroad, to Africa and Morocco, in Benin, in South America, in Chile, to learn ancestral technique of artisanal, to after reappropriate herself in a contemporary way on different kind of material.
Like how to approach you?
How to approach me?
When they are ready?
I'm one of the galleries maybe the most open because my door is always open. You don't have to ring the bell. Now I have two galleries. I have the main gallery that is made for more established artists working with bigger scale because it's the 300 square meter space. And I will open back the previous space, the first one that I start, as a more project space to continue to work at the beginning with young artists and give it the voice to them. So the artist, to approach them is like create a contact with the gallery. For that, it needs to go a lot to the openings, to start to speak, not just sending a portfolio online. It doesn't work so much with me. It's something like all the artists that I work with, we create a relation for 4 years at least.
So you prefer a human touch?
Yeah, much more. And I work with 13 artists. Most of them are Portuguese, 7 of them are Portuguese, 6 are foreigners, but the foreigners, they live in Portugal because for me it's super important to be close to the artists.
So I will spread the message and you might receive a lot of young talents knocking at your door.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you. This is a gallery in Madrid installation.
Hi, my name is Cristina Vasilescu and I'm the curator of the gallery Supra Infinite from Bucharest. And it's our second time actually at the opening section at ARCO Madrid. We brought two artists in dialogue, Christine Wenzel, she's German but living in Bucharest in Germany, and Alessandro Teoldi. The connection is around the idea of intimacy and these encounters that are often intimate but also talking about distance and belonging. So we have Christine Wenzel with an installation of orchids, wild orchids. She started this body of work last year during the pandemic, where she was trapped in Germany. She became very fascinated with, how they attract their pollinators and the very different types, and how they were brought in Europe, how the textures and how different they are. We represent 8 artists in total now, and the gallery is 6 years old. But this year we're adding more artists to our portfolio, and of course we also do collaborations for specific exhibitions. So.
What advice do you give them?
Yeah, good question. Work a lot, work and don't miss any chance. Just go there and talk about your work and put yourself into contexts. I mean, environments and exhibitions and going and, talking and not be afraid of, questioning your practice, your work, but also, people around and engage in a conversation. So you can also take your work further and
have some feedbacks.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Thank you for your time. This is a gallery in Madrid, La Goma. Here are some rocks. I don't know if it's just me or it's a pure coincidence. I feel that every time there's a larger piece or heavier piece, the gallerists are from near here. Hello. I'm extremely exhausted. I have spent the last, 6-7 hours here and I haven't seen everything. But I think I'm gonna call it a day. And tomorrow I'll come back here and do more interviews and show more art. This is the part 1 of ARCO 2022. See you again.